Hi guys, just a quick note before we start this podcast. There were a few internet problems during recording, and I think that means parts of Marcus's rant about Ryan Porteous' challenge in the Aberdeen game will be cut out, but the rest of the podcast is clear and most of it is very good, and I hope you enjoy.
BTEC Haaland batters Motherwell before Porteous batters someone on the pitch. Glasgow win the shit team top trumps Derby, and Rangers are off to Braga, with Big Ange only getting the Celtic team as far as Nando's for Portuguese experience. Welcome back to the False 90s podcast.
Yeah, with us this week we have Kyle, we have Lewis, and we have Marcus for the first time in a long time. But the big story over the past couple of weeks out of Scottish football is that Rangers are through to the Europa League quarterfinals. A 4-2 aggregate win over Red Star Belgrade. Kyle, do you want to take these ones?
Yes, I will do. So, obviously, I'll start off with just getting to the quarterfinals first. Obviously, it's a big mark for Scottish football, big mark for Rangers Football Club as well. So I'll start off first with the home tie, which pretty much sealed the deal in the end. So obviously we started off pretty poor I thought at first, and obviously Red Star had a few offside goals. Obviously the first one was Katai was just slightly offside. All of them were really close offside, but good calls from VAR. Obviously the first goal, Ken obviously doing his thing and did a wee step over and was clipped in the box, and obviously VAR gave that for penalty. And you obviously
Say the line, Kyle.
Penalty to Rangers.
Hey.
The line we all love to hear. And you obviously Tav dispatched his penalty. Very good accuracy. And obviously the second goal came quickly after through Morelos. Obviously it was a beautiful volley, half volley. Seemed to do a wee swerve in the air, which was good to see, but obviously took it away from the goalkeeper, which was good as well. And obviously Red Star obviously kept putting the pressure as well. Obviously they're a very good team, and I think the scoreline in the end was quite harsh on them, to be honest. And the third goal came in the second half through Balogun. Basically left up like a salmon, as Alex Ray said on the commentary. And beautiful clean header.
That one before. Do you think he came up with that all by himself, or?
Yeah.
There's two brain cells.
Not that bad. I would say it's not too bad. But obviously that finished 3-0, and it was a very good result for us. And obviously in the away leg, I'll just run into that quickly. We started off really poor. Obviously they scored first with it was a bouncing ball through Ivanic, I think it was. He was able to put the shot past McGregor in a crowded box, but he looked like he left his man, which was very poor defensively from us. And obviously the second goal was like Kamara sets Kent off, and he just ran and he stretched the home defence, and he cuts into the penalty box, and then the shot was deflected over the keeper, and obviously that sent the away fans very happy. And obviously not what we like to hear, not the line. It was complete opposite. So obviously penalty to Red Star came like 2 minutes to go, I think. And it was Glenn Kamara who tried to pat in leg and tried to shield the ball, but he caught his opponent on the toe, which was definitely a penalty. So obviously good to get to the quarterfinals, and obviously a very favourable tie against Braga, and obviously the semi-finals looking good as well if we can get through Braga as well. But obviously good to get there, I guess.
Yeah, it's got through to the quarterfinals, which is an amazing achievement, not just for Rangers but for Scottish football as a whole. It's really dragged the coefficient up, obviously the past couple of ones as well. Now see Scotland into the 9th best league in the continent, behind Austria, Netherlands and Portugal, and sets up quite a favourable quarter-final tie, and I'd say as well a favourable semi-final tie as well if they can get through that. I mean,
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
so they'll face.
but no, the draws will be also avoided like the likes of West Ham and Barcelona. So
Yeah, so it sets up a semi-final tie potentially against Red Bull Leipzig or Atalanta. On the other side of the draw, it's West Ham versus Lyon and Eintracht Frankfurt against Barcelona. Which, I mean, in terms of how far Rangers have come so far, you wouldn't say that they'd been absolutely blown away by any of the teams, at least on their side of the draw.
Yeah, well, it will. Everyone's saying, well, obviously we are quite a big threat in Europe, but as our league performances obviously are letting us down a bit. But some made a good point. We play a lot better when teams actually play football and not just try and just sit in for 90 minutes. So obviously I think Gio, so I'm not saying anything bad against him, but he struggles to break down teams at times and obviously has to rely on the subs in the league. But maybe he's not trusting the full team, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's interesting to see when he gets the full window at the end of the year.
Only team realistically now that will cause Rangers the biggest problem would be Barcelona. I'm not writing West Ham off because West Ham are a good team, but that Barcelona squad has had some rejuvenation since the winter transfer window by bringing in about half the Premier League in on loan.
We have no fear of teams. We shouldn't have any fear of any team.
Even a Barcelona side that just won El Clasico 4-0.
Yeah, correct. Shouldn't fear teams. Why should we? We had very good results, obviously, against Red Star, and obviously Dortmund as well. Shouldn't fear any team.
I'm not saying you should fear them, but as Sam said, when a Barcelona team goes out and beats Real Madrid 4-0 in the El Clasico, and then in turn that Real Madrid team just knocked out one of the strongest front threes in Europe.
That's very true. Yeah,
it is a note for concern. Realistically, it's going to play out. Rangers should get past Braga comfortably. You've done it before, you'll do it again.
Wasn't comfortably though.
Wasn't comfortably.
2-0 up Ibrox, remember?
Yeah, they were 2-0 up Ibrox. Yeah.
Rangers needed to come from behind at Ibrox, and then they only managed to draw in Braga, if I remember.
No, we beat them in Braga.
Beat them in Braga, okay. I think Rangers will get past Braga. I think, what was it, Leipzig against...
Leipzig and
Atalanta.
Atalanta, I think, could be a bit difficult for Rangers as well.
Of course, it's the semi-final of the Europa League.
It is. I mean, I just think Atalanta, they're a team that they're Champions League level. You know, obviously they're playing in the semi-final of the Europa League, but they've proven before that they have
But you could argue so Red Star and Dortmund.
Dortmund definitely. Red Star maybe know as much at the level I'm thinking about maybe, but Dortmund absolutely I think was a massive achievement. I'm not quite sure if Rangers can do it.
But if you think
against Barcelona,
we're not playing Barca though. We avoided Barca.
If it's Barcelona in the final, which I think if Rangers...
Let's not get ahead of ourselves, please. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
I think let's put it this way as well, is that both Leipzig and Atalanta have been in Champions League semi-finals in the past in the recent years. So
of Leipzig as well.
Yeah, Leipzig, Atalanta, obviously Barcelona as well. They've been to latter stages of the Champions League over the past couple of years. So they are good teams. They are Champions League level teams.
Even if West Ham do somehow make it, like they're no mugs as well. Souček, very good player. I've not really paid much attention to the Premier League this year, if I'm being very honest. But I just know that West Ham are not really the mugs that they were.
Yeah, I was at West Ham a couple of weeks ago. West Ham Villa. They are a really good team. They've got. I think there are concerns that it's a small squad, but they've got some really good players in there, and they do play really well, really good football. So
they're a lot more competitive than they have been.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, maybe 3-4 seasons ago when they were really kind of down at the bottom of the Prem, but they're going to be tough.
Rangers and West Ham. Like, if you get through that semi-final stage, if it's realistically, it's going to be like Rangers, Leipzig or Atalanta, Barcelona and West Ham.
Yeah.
That would then mean that the only two clubs in the only two clubs in the semi-finals that have actually worked their way through the Europa League would be Rangers and West Ham.
Yeah, because both Leipzig and Atalanta dropped down. Barcelona dropped down. I think Lyon, did they drop down from the Champions League?
No, they were in our group with us.
Oh,
yeah, they're in the same group as Rangers, yeah. Because the Champions League places in France last season would have been PSG and LOSC Lille.
Yeah. Yeah, so you've got some really tough teams in there, but you know the Rangers have proven their worth so far, and I don't think anyone would say they don't deserve to be here.
Oh, absolutely not. I think knocking out Dortmund was the kind of poster tie statement for why they should be in that stage of the competition. They've done very well.
That was very much the Rangers are back in European football game. The giant killing of Dortmund.
Not just back in European football, but back at the top end of European football. You know, the next step will be the Champions League for Rangers. That'll be
totally
ambitions at this minute, but
100%.
And for Celtic, it's Eurovision.
Yeah.
So from one set of quarterfinals to the other, it was the Scottish Cup quarterfinals a couple of weekends ago, and we have our semi-finals. We have an Edinburgh derby and an Old Firm, but we both have a Motherwell and a Hibs fan here. So do you guys want to take Motherwell 1, Hibs 2?
I want to take myself a big high bridge, if that's what you're asking. What can I say? At the time, I thought it was doable, and then up steps Elias Melkerson, and well, we all know what happened for there. 2 goals for the boy, and I can't say anything bad about Hibs' performance.
They did deserve it, as well. I've seen plenty going about from kind of Motherwell fans and Graham Alexander about how Motherwell bossed the game, how Hibs were we were trying to slow the game down. I mean, I think that's pretty pathetic from Alexander, to be honest. I think they were the team that were trying more than the other to play football.
I don't think there was any, like, from my perspective, I don't think Hibs were trying to slow the game down. I just think that you were going for the possession game, which is fair. Which is fair when you've got 2 wingers, when you've got Jordan Roberts sitting on the pitch, and you've got, like, I mean, Van Veen's no quick, right? But, like, realistically, when we get sort of like Woolery and you've got Joe Efford and stuff on there, you've got players that have got serious pace on them, then you're going to try and play possession to slow down the game.
We weren't trying to play possession. I think it's that after you're sending off, your tactic was just to sit in, because you knew that, like you said, you've got the wingers to hit us in the break, and that was your game plan, I think, more than us. But then that kind of worked into our favour, because we have a squad we have a defence that is not that strong, that doesn't like to be put under pressure. So when you try and soak up defence, you're just giving, like, Joe Newell was unreal. You're giving players like Joe Newell more time on the ball. You're giving, as we've seen, Jasper more time on the ball, and he is deadly on the ball. And that kind of, I think it was your only option. Like I said, I don't think we were playing possession, but we were kind of forced to if you was sitting back with 10 men. But then we just had the quality to break you down and to.
It was Jasper that set up the first goal. They set both goals up.
Yeah, Jasper, wee bit of trickery for the first goal. It was wee bit of trickery down the right,
and then swung the cross in.
There were shouts for offside, but he's timed his run brilliantly. The second goal is one of the best goals that I've seen live this season from Hibs. Just it's like not really a team goal, which
It was a solo effort. Well, it wasn't a
really
solo effort. It was an effort for Jasper and Melkerson, and you just totally opened up your defence.
Players. It's just a beautiful from Jasper. He's well inside his own half. He looks up and the ball is inch perfect to Melkerson. You don't actually. I think I was saying this to a pal talking about the game, but like you don't see many goals like that in Scottish football where like there's a beautiful ball over the top and the striker just manages to touch it, like get the perfect touch on it, brings it down, and then a beautifully finish in the bottom right. Both the goals from Melkerson, his first 2 goals from the club. I don't know how much you have touched on it since I've been away. Maybe not having a Hibs perspective as much, but there's been a bit of confusion as to why he's been rested. We paid 350k for him, so it's a fair bit of money for us. You know, that's like a marquee signing, and he's not really played as much. Maloney's been really keen on letting him settle into the country, which I think is fair. He's a young lad. He's 19, but we've been waiting so long for him to come and make an impact, and he's finally done it. And I'm just glad that we've actually got a striker that can do that, because Nisbet will be out, I think 7, 8 months, and Doidge has just not looked the same since coming back from injury. So it's really vital for us, I guess, that we have that sort of goals as long as he can keep scoring.
Yeah, we haven't really touched on it, but I think the reason why Melkerson hasn't been playing that much is because he's come from Bodo Glimt, and that they play a summer league, so he's been playing since about March. He's been playing a whole season since March, and obviously he's come out of that, and he's come to another country as well, and he hasn't really had a break. Yeah. So that I kind of see why he has been rested, and he's kind of getting used to settling into the country and the city and everything. So I do see why Maloney's playing it that way. I think the same with the other guy who signed for Bodo Glimt as well.
He's come off the bench a few times. I quite like the look of him. So yeah, we just the worry is now that we're kind of going to have to rely on Melkerson a wee bit till the end of the season for goals, because I think before the quarterfinal we looked very solid defensively. We didn't concede it in the league in 4 games, and the worry was just then scoring goals. But you know, as we'll talk about with the Aberdeen game, we kind of fell apart a wee bit on the defensive front. But we'll get to that game when we get to it. But no, overall, like I don't know what else Lewis has got to say about the game. I thought Motherwell should have been down to 9, let alone 10, if we're going to touch on the refereeing decisions. I know Alexander was really keen to make an excuse of that. I think it's a habit he gets himself into.
I want to touch on the refereeing decisions, but there's not really much I can say other than there was times where Motherwell players made similar challenges to the one that Mugabe made at the start of the game, which was obviously the red card decision, and we're only given yellows for it.
Yeah, you mean the one on Dre Wright?
The one on Dre Wright for Jordan Roberts is an identical challenge.
Yeah, I think
my argument for the Mugabe challenge is that as much as it's a harsh challenge. It was a harsh challenge on Josh Doig.
He flying in studs up. So it's
flying in studs up, touches the ball, catches him. He does get the ball, but he catches him on the follow through, and either way, studs it up.
I remember you mentioning it after the game on the chat. I don't think he gets the ball. If you look at it, the ball kind of is from the angle. The ball's behind his foot, but like behind in the frame, and he's nowhere near the ball, and he just goes right into Doig and injures him.
I think it's a straight red, 100%. He doesn't get the ball.
Yeah.
And the only
commentary
reason later isn't a straight red is because, you know, the referee he's already lost the game, lost control of the match, and he just knows it's going to get worse if he sends 2 Motherwell players off in 5 minutes. But then if Graham Alexander has such a problem with it, then he shouldn't instruct his players to be such hatchet men. To be honest, really lost a lot of respect for him after that game. But but
you're not the only one, mate. I know you're on the Hibs side, right? But there's so many Motherwell fans are totally done with shit. Like, put in a random squad out every week, and then just the players are getting too hot-headed because they're getting faced.
That's his management style. Like, I get that he wants a team that's up for it, that's going to put up a fight, but he just, I don't know, like, I think we were saying, he just comes across the same as Robbo did, like, just whinging all the time at referees, but then he's like Robbo, but then he wants to be like this kind of hard man and have this gruff exterior, like, referee, like, it's really old at this point, and I don't think
he's worse than Robbo. He's worse.
Football, having a team like that in the league, it's not good for Scottish football, really, having that mentality. You're just going to go and be really physical and injure opponents.
We're gonna keep losing games. We are. Obviously, we're going to touch on what happened at the weekend very shortly, but I've backed them. I've came on the podcast and slated them and just said you just need to make the right decisions. And after this weekend, enough's enough. But on the flip side, I can see, like, a lot of people are saying, like, why sack him now? There's not enough time to bring in a new manager. Are we really going to watch Keith? Because realistically, if Alexander goes, so does Chris Lucchetti, because they just leave together. And realistically, do we want to watch Keith Lasley take charge again? Because we got humiliated the last time that happened. But I'm at that stage where I look at teams that have sacked managers midway through the season, this season, and looked at how they're going. The likes, obviously Aberdeen brought in Goodwin. It's not going that well. St Mirren have obviously appointed a new manager because of that, and it's not going that well. And Hibs switched manager halfway through the season, and it's only just starting to pick up now for you.
I don't know about that. I mean, I can touch on it later, but I think we've still been very disappointing under Maloney, bar a game here and there. But I don't hold Maloney accountable for that really at this point in the season. At this point in his tenure, let alone the season. But it's mad. I think I don't know. Obviously, I've not had a chance to mention it, but it's an absolute miracle that we're anywhere near top 6 at the minute, given our form. But I have no clue.
Given ours, it's an absolute miracle that we're not in our relegation dogfight.
You're just lucky that Dundee are so bad this season that there's no.
Aye, but they've brought in McGee, and all of a sudden they're actually playing all right.
Dundee, I think they're still losing every week.
Losing every week, but they got close. They got close on Sunday. Saturday. Close on Saturday.
We'll just
Sunday. Sorry, Sunday. It was Sunday.
We'll just skip through the rest of the Cup quarterfinals. A 4-2 win for Hearts over St Mirren, which involved a fantastic goal from Conor Ronan for St Mirren. Unfortunately, it was not enough for them. Hearts advanced to face Hibs in the semi-final. On the other side of the draw is Dundee against Glasgow in terms of both ties, and both ended up in 3-0 wins for the Old Firm sides. A 3-0 win for Celtic over Dundee United, and 3-0 for Rangers over Dundee. Coach, want to just quickly touch on the cup game?
Yeah, I can briefly. So this is probably one of the most dominant performance for Rangers against Dundee. We'll find out later. I'll just quickly go over the goals. So obviously Haaland rise at the back post from the corner. It looks like it was going to go in, but it was a goal line clearance from, I think, Lee Ashcroft. He thumped it against his own crossbar, but the rebound fell to Connor Goldson, and yeah, he had kept a cool head to slam it home. Second goal was obviously good footwork from Tav, and he was banned over by, I think it was Sweeney, and another penalty to Rangers. And yeah, that ended up in the top right corner. And then just want to make quickly, just want to say well played to Alex Rowley when he came on. I thought he was really good when he came on, and obviously got himself an assist for releasing Sakala on the break. And yeah, he does the obviously he shot it below Harry Sharp. So yeah, it was a dominant performance from Rangers. We'll cover the other one later.
And in fact, 2 goals from Giakoumakis, who scored 2 in Celtic's 3-0 win over Dundee United. We've covered the second leg of Red Star Belgrade Rangers, but we'll move on to the games this weekend, and we might as well start with Rangers' return to Dundee. This time we're a little bit closer with a 2-1.
Yeah, so I'm just going to start off before the game. Obviously, there was a few stoppages. Obviously, there was one before the game and obviously at half time. Don't condone it at all. I thought it was pretty embarrassing, to be honest. But obviously, I understand why, and that's basically what Gio said after the end of the game as well. He understands why it's done. But obviously, I feel like a couple of weeks ago that we were slagging Celtic for chucking tennis balls on to the pitch as well.
I don't get the chuck the tennis balls on thing. Like,
I don't get it either.
I've seen it from a French perspective this season. Like there's a big movement here basically saying that like any league below League 2 has to, like, basically any league below like second tier here has to play not on a weekend. So a lot of the teams protest, like they want to play football matches on the weekend. Like the fans don't like having to go at 7 o'clock on a Friday night straight after work to the football. But I don't get the throwing tennis balls on thing. Like it doesn't solve anything. The toilet paper as well.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely silly.
I also didn't get it as well because Rangers had played Europa League on Thursday, so obviously that's why the game had to be moved to a Sunday. So it's nothing to do with, like, I don't know.
No, it's nothing to do with that. No.
The friendly in Australia.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, also, is it there? Oh, sorry, yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's protesting that, but I don't understand why that has any relevance to the friendly in Australia. Obviously, it was a banner there as well. But yeah, again, there's no need for the toilet rolls and tennis balls. It's a bit silly, but anyway, we'll
put up a wee banner, voice your opinions, but then throw fuck tennis about pause about
yeah, exactly, 100%.
It just delays the game, and to be honest, it's like when Rangers are in the title race that they're in. Like the last thing you need, a game that was that difficult, where Dundee were putting up a fight and went a goal up. It's like kind of the last thing you need is to be slowing the game down for your own team.
Yeah, especially at the half time as well. We were trying to chase the game. Silly, but anyway.
It's a bit maybe not in your own interests, but
no. I see why people do it, but like I don't understand personally.
Stand together in unison, fellow Bears, against this corrupt Australian league system that forces us to play a friendly.
Yeah. Well, I don't think the friendly should go ahead anyway, but I've already covered that. So.
I think it's embarrassing, and it just shows that the old firm is dead. But nah.
Right, okay, Marcus. Right. Anyway, I'll quickly recap the game. Obviously, it was a really, really slow start from us till about 60 minutes, 60, 70 minutes. Thought we were really poor. Obviously, we also had that European hangover again. But yeah, obviously, Dundee get the break for their goal. For me, Ramsey doesn't do enough to try and close him down. He should have just went for it instead of just like jockeying him. But obviously, fair play. I don't know who it was. Got a lovely ball over McGregor. It's basically spot on, and obviously he taps it in with his head. Obviously, we got an opportunity to get back into the game through the penalty, which for me was very soft. Is a penalty, but very soft. So I don't know his opinions on that. I'd like to hear all his opinions on that.
It was the pull of the chair, wasn't it?
Whatsoever, and I think it's out of all the penalties that have gone Rangers' way this season that have been dubious, it's the one that is the most blatant example of like what the fuck is going on here. I don't know.
How?
I don't think there's even a touch on the boy. Like,
have you looked at it?
Yes.
Well, you'll clearly see the shirt being pulled in.
I'll let the others take the I don't know.
Well, there's a shirt pull, and then the laws of the game: if your shirt gets pulled,
it's one of those.
It's a penalty.
It's one of those where it's like, yeah, it's a foul, but like it shouldn't be a penalty, if you get what I'm saying. Like a
Well,
penalty
what's
is
the foul in the box then?
Well, the penalty is
Foul in the box, a penalty.
well, yeah, of course, but like
Those are the kind of fouls that only get given in the league if it's for Celtic or Rangers. Those are the only situations where those get given. If you're saying it's a penalty, it's a foul in the box. I think Sam's right.
No, we've had that against us. We've had it against us loads of times. I'm not saying this season or last season, but there's been a few times where we have had it pulled. It's the ref has a clear view of it, of when Alfredo gets pulled, and he gets pulled away from the ball, and yeah, it's a penalty. It's soft, yes, very very soft, but it's the laws of the game. It's a penalty.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, it just seems like a harsh punishment for something that's just a small niggly foul like that, if you get what I'm saying. But obviously, it's a foul on the box. It kind of has to be a penalty.
Right. So yeah, obviously the Tav missed the penalty, so it doesn't really matter in the end anyway. But yeah, I thought in the second half we were still a little bit sloppy, but then obviously I think it turned about 17 minutes, and obviously it took the subs to work their magic. So I thought Roof was superb when he came on, and obviously he did a lot of work. And then Ramsey gets a tap in, and yeah, obviously Roof again in the box, and he probably gets quite a lucky flick and falls to Goulson to hammer it away. I wouldn't say. It's hard to tell. In the end, yes, we deserved the 3 points, but for the first half, got to completely credit Dundee. I thought they played really well. It just shows a bit of fight. Obviously, both teams needed the 3 points, to be honest, for different reasons. But in the end, yeah, I think we deserved the 3 points because they tired out in the end. But you could also argue Dundee also deserved a point for their first half performance. But yeah, no, obviously, is it good? It doesn't really matter about how you get the 3 points at this stage of the season. It's just about getting them. So
yeah, that kept the gap at the top. 3 points with Celtic's 4-0 win over Ross County. Obviously, we don't have Andy here to talk about it, but it was that Greek guy again, Giakoumakis, with 3 goals. Another hat-trick in the league, and another goal from Dyson Maeda. Saw Celtic, extend their goal difference, in fact, and keep the lead at the top to 3 points. Elsewhere, we had a 2-1 win for Dundee United over St Mirren, a 96th minute winner from Mark McNulty. Saw Dundee United get the win that puts them up into 4th, opens a 2-point gap over Hibs in 5th as well, and also a 2-0 win for Hearts. They keep their 3rd place, goals from Baningimi and Mackay that see them keep their 3rd place pretty much intact now, and kind of scupper Livingston's chances a little bit. That top 6 race still very tight between 5th and 10th. But we'll move on to the 2 games where we've got Motherwell involved and we've got Hibs involved. So Marcus, do you want to take Aberdeen 3, Hibs 1?
I was hoping you wouldn't ask me first, but I guess I'll get right into it. Yeah, so yeah, I guess if I was to sum up Maloney's tenure so far and my thoughts on it, I can see what he's trying to do. I think Lewis would agree with me after having seen us play at Motherwell. That was probably the best example since maybe the end of January, especially of what we're trying to achieve with our style of play, I guess. And I really thought for Aberdeen going into the game, I thought, we've not conceded in a while. Obviously, a really sloppy goal to give away at Motherwell, but not anything that I was really concerned about. So he was coming back into the defence, so I thought we'd be pretty strong there, and that having Melkerson starting again would give us kind of a focal point. But I think what I was worried about was it kind of all came about. It came to to happen in the end. Is that the reason, like I said, that we were so effective at Motherwell is because we had a lot of time in the ball. That we're a team at the minute that when you really push us back and get at us, then there's weaknesses there. And I think Aberdeen is something that they did really well was they got the ball up the park quickly, and punished especially Hayes down the left. Taking advantage of how far forward Cadden was getting, which I think Cadden's been our best player. Either him or Stevenson, for me, have been our best players under Maloney so far. But Hayes was excellent. Just from off the top of my head, what they were, Aberdeen were doing. So they approached the game the perfect way, I think. Bar maybe the first 5-10 minutes where I thought we were really knocking on the door. I think Jasper had a chance. I wasn't too impressed with us at all before the first penalty. I still think the game was in the balance. I don't think that we were particularly impressive. I'd say Aberdeen were maybe edging it, bar, like I said, a wee spell. And then the first penalty comes. This will be very controversial, but I'm willing to have my mind changed on this one because I'm not completely sure of the rules, and I don't know who else has seen it. But what happens is that the ball hits off Cadden. I think it's Cadden anyway. And then some Hibs fans were saying that it hits off Cadden, then it ricochets again off of Rocky's knee, then onto his arm. From what I seen, it didn't look like it hit off his knee. I thought it hit off Cadden, then right onto Rocky's arm. But I don't know the exact rules, but my impression is that shouldn't be a penalty because it's the same logic if it hits off a part of your own body. If it hits off another one of your own players, you're not directly obstructing the initial shot with the handball, and like Rocky has no time to move his arm at all in that situation.
I'll just jump in on Marcus because I did see this one. Was this the first one, right?
I'm not like completely set on this. I'm only going with what I know of the rules.
Right, okay, right. For me, it's a penalty because the rules are if it hits off the player's body, like that person, that's, let's say it hits their hand, hits their chest or their knee first, then it hits their hand, then that is not a penalty. But if it hits someone else, and to be fair, his arm was quite far out, it was a natural position, so it hit off his knee.
I agree that it wasn't a natural position, but at the same time, he's nowhere near where the initial shot is going. Like what's he meant to do with his arms in that situation? He's
not have it there for start.
It's, if it is a penalty, like I will concede. If the rule is that it hits your arm off of going another lane, it is a penalty. But I wouldn't say, it's very harsh. It's like he.
No, I wouldn't say it was harsh. It was unlucky. I would say
it's very unlucky. He doesn't know anything about it. It's hit off Cadden. It's
unlucky, but it's a penalty.
I think it's one of those ones where because the handball law is such a mess and it has been for years that it's one of those ones where it can be given or can't be given, and people will argue either way, bringing the rules up. But I mean, this one was given. You probably could see it next week somewhere, maybe in Colombia, and I don't know why I use Colombia as an example. You can see it anywhere else in the world, probably next week, and it won't be given.
Yeah, it's probably just an interpretation of the ref in the end because I don't know how clear the rules are on it. But if
just another argument for VAR in the Scottish leagues, isn't it?
Oh,
I don't think that would be because it was given by the ref. I don't think it would be ruled out by VAR just because it's not so clear and obvious. But yeah, in general, VAR should be introduced.
On a second viewing, it did hit off his knee, in which case it wouldn't be a pen. But I don't know. It's very. As a Hibs fan, it's hard not to be, like I say, Aberdeen were edging it, but you always felt like we did have a bit of a threat. Jasper was, like I say, getting close. Melkerson had some good movement. I just think, and then obviously moving on from that, we concede the penalty, and then I don't think we really offer much for the rest of the game, if I'm very honest. We kind of just fall back into, we get deeper, which is the really confusing part. Which, like I said, I've been mentioning it. It doesn't suit us, really. I don't know. Like, it was a very odd game. Hibs Aberdeen games are never like tactical masterclasses from either side. I don't think Maloney's style of play was best on show from what we were doing. But I don't know. They seemed to neutralise Melkerson very well. we didn't carry much threat from the wings at all. Cadden, non-existent. I was very disappointed in Wright. He was very much criticised last season, and then also under Ross at the first part of the season. And then there's been this narrative with a lot of Hibs fans that he's having a resurgence under Maloney, and that but I personally don't see it. I mean, he apparently had an amazing game at Motherwell. I mean, I don't think he did. I think he still gave the ball away more than what he was worth. And I don't know. I just think a midfield two of Newell and Campbell. Campbell's another one where he's just not showing that he's good enough to be starting for Hibs at the minute. I think ideally it would be Newell and Doyle Hayes starting. So I don't know. I'd need to look. I've not looked back at the highlights since I watched the game, but I'm pretty sure that it's Campbell that gives the ball away for the first penalty as well.
Marcus, can I just quickly jump in on that penalty incident again?
The first one,
the first one. See if I'll reverse it a wee bit, right? So see, it hit off a player's arm, so it deflected off another player and then hit the hand. See if that was the post or the crossbar.
Yeah.
Is it not a penalty? Or is it a penalty?
If the shot hits an arm, then goes on the post.
Although it hits
the post, then the hand. Is that a penalty?
That probably would be, but then again, it'd probably be one of those ones where
it depends on the position of the arm. It depends if the defender's there.
If everything's the same, unless it hit off the
post and by the ball hitting off the arm is denied a chance for the ball to run over to like an attacker, then probably. But that's another really vague one, I think.
Well, we'll see if he didn't have his hand there. Could it have went to attacker?
Yeah. So like if it hits off the post and then it hits a hand, when if the ball was travelling to an attacker and by hitting the hand it stopped it from falling to the feet of an attacking player, then probably. But I can see instances where if it hits off a player's arm and there's no attacker around it, if it hits off a defender's arm and there's nobody around him, then and if there's nothing he can do about it,
Right, fair enough. We need to get Bobby Madden on this podcast just to clear everything up.
But one thing Bobby Madden would have agreed with was that the second penalty was 100% a penalty and probably 100% a red card as well.
This is another thing that I've still not made my mind up. So I think it goes without saying that it's a penalty, and I've never kind of jumped in the witch hunt for him, I guess. But this is one instance where this is one occasion where the massive witch hunt around him has got a point. But it needs to calm the fuck down because he's an amazing young talent and he's nowhere near as bad as people make him out to be. And there are actually dirtier players in the league that don't get nearly as scrutinised. So that's my 2 pence on it. But it is a penalty. I'm just not sure if it warrants a red card at the same time. Yeah. I'm willing to hear your guys' opinions as well because I know that probably you wouldn't agree with me. But
on the second one, the Porteous sending off, is it?
Oh yeah, just everything I've said about the sending.
Sending off, yeah, clear sending off. There's no talking about it. What was he doing?
If there's any attempt to play the ball, then it can't be a sending off with a penalty. Is the argument?
Mate, his legs were all over the shop. It's a penalty.
Oh, I'm not saying it's not a penalty.
Oh, it's sending off as well. Yeah, 100%.
I don't know.
He's stopping the player, is he not?
I'm gonna have another look at it now. Feel free to talk about other things while I look it up because I don't want it to be silence.
I've just talked briefly on Aberdeen while you're talking. I thought Aberdeen played pretty well, to be honest. Yeah, but
like I said, they came at the game the right way to stop us from doing what we were trying to do. Which is frustrating. I kind of thought, okay, I'm having another look at it now. But yeah, it kind of depends on.
Yeah, so the ball comes back off the crossbar from Bates.
He swings his leg out. And
he's trying to clear it, but obviously he catches the full guy, so penalty sending off.
I don't think we'll get it. I'll put it this way: I don't think we'll get it appealed.
No, he's not. You won't. There's no chance you'll get that appealed.
Yeah. it's frustrating because he's cost us in that situation. It's a very rash challenge.
Yeah.
And then from then on in, we can't really do much.
I think that leads on to the wanker of the week. Porteous gets it for me.
Oh, he's the wanker of the week every week. For as much as Scottish football is concerned, but
No, I hate to say it, but he's a good player. Sometimes his head is just like, what's going on?
fantastic player. But if he has any fucking hope of being Hibs captain, then needs to, I don't know, play a bit more intelligent. But
yeah, needs to use his head more.
But no, like the fucking journalists going after him, and after the Motherwell game, and ex-referees coming out after the Aberdeen games, and stuff about him. It's counterproductive, really. But anyway, just to give I don't know, to give a summary in the game, just it really puts us in a hard position now, where we probably need a win in our last 2 games before the split to have any hope of finishing top half, and it just means that we can't bank on a win at Tynecastle at the minute, and I think we have to beat Dundee United at home, which who knows who knows, to be honest. But I guess we'll come on to that when we're talking about the cup playing fixtures.
Yeah, so the final game of the week that we're going to cover is another Motherwell game. Lewis, I'm sorry, St Johnstone 2, Motherwell 1.
Calm Hendry, Motherwell are shite, done.
Okay.
That's legit all I can say. There's nothing I can say. We're just I've expressed my feelings about the club. I've expressed my feelings about the cup game, and this was just a repeat performance. Go a goal down, fire one back, play absolute shite, and concede at injury time because Graham Alexander's not got a fucking clue. And that's all I'm saying on it. I don't even have compliments to give. You can what my wanker of the week was going to be Ryan Porteous. Can I just give it to Graham Alexander?
We can have two. We can have two.
I'm done. I'm fucking done, man. It's like I'm about to have like a Marcus style meltdown about Motherwell. But I had one. No, because I had one 2 podcasts ago, and I can't keep doing this. Oh, I just outright refuse to give any tactical analysis on Motherwell St Johnstone.
No, one thing I can't understand is, and this, I don't know if this is going to come off in the wrong way, but like you look at Motherwell, they're sitting 8th. They're still competitive in the sense that like another win. Let me look at your last 2 matches, but like you're not cut adrift at the minute, So it's St Mirren at home, and then Livingston away. And realistically, you could still finish top half if you pick up a win from somewhere. I know that probably doesn't look like it in the minute, but and obviously it's not the league table you're looking at. It's the form that you're kind of is causing the fuss at the minute. But if you look I'm no fussed
about where we are in the league table. I don't care where we finish as long as we don't go down. It's just with the form that we've got just now.
Yeah.
If the teams below us pick up, which they are starting to do, we could be playing a relegation playoff yet again.
I don't know. I think St Johnstone and Dundee are just so far behind that they're going to do well to catch up.
But St Johnstone just beat us, so what does that tell you about our form? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's an injury time. It's an injury time injury time winner. Sorry, but it just doesn't set in and up well for us. My disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined. That's how I can sum up.
Well, talking of disappointment, it's now time to move on to the predictions.
Oh.
And because we didn't do a pod last week, the only prediction we've got are the 2 Europa League legs between Rangers and Red Star Belgrade and the Cup quarterfinals. Now, last week was dreadful. So in 4th place, we have Kyle with 3 points.
Whee!
And in joint 1st place, or joint 3rd, whatever, we have me and Lewis and Andy with 4 points. So
That is horrendous.
It's very, very horrendous. That gives the total for this season. Marcus and Gary on 0. Carl, you are on 15. Andy's on 18. I am on 30. And Lewis is on 38.
All I'm saying is if Marcus catches me by the end of the season, I'm done with predictions.
We'll see.
We'll see. Because it's the international break this week, we know what happened last time it was international break. So we've got some Scotland games, but we've also got a mix of other games around the world as World Cup qualifying comes to a close in most places across the world. But we'll start with Scotland's friendly against Poland.
2-1 Scotland.
This is a difficult one because in the Poland national team they have a Robert Lewandowski, but no, that 2-1 Scotland as well. Other than Lewandowski and Matty Cash, there's not really much else in the Poland squad, is there?
2-0 Poland.
2-1 Poland.
No, 2-0 Poland.
2-0 Poland. I just fancy Scotland to beat anybody at the minute. Like,
Jeez, oh.
if I'm being honest.
Oh, I missed
End of the day, I'm not really too fussed about the result for this because it's not going towards anything. It's just all for charity, isn't it? So
yeah,
quite happy with it.
And I'm going to go with 2-2, I think.
very respectable.
Respectable 2-2. Now we travel down under for Australia's qualifier against Japan.
I thought you were about to say the Sydney Cup.
Don't even.
2-0 Australia, Martin Boyle with a double.
Oh, that's a name I haven't heard in a couple of months. Wow.
Wow.
So hard to predict. Yeah, I'll go 2-1 Australia.
He's gonna score 2, and we're just gonna get pictures of like Marcus crying, like feel like pure shit, just want Martin Boyle back. Nah, do you know what? I'm gonna say 2-1 Japan. Got to back all those Japanese players that are in the Scottish leagues half the time now.
I thought you could have come up with a racial slur there. I'm so glad you didn't.
Sam, in what parallel universe am I going to come up with a racial slur? Everyone's going to get us banned in Asia. Actually, it's me, isn't it?
I wonder, is like Hatate and that getting call-ups? Or
I don't think the squads have been announced yet, but I'm pretty sure they would.
is
Kyogo always tends to.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with who's in the setup, really.
Hatate, Maeda, you've got obviously
Maeda,
players like Yoshida as well. I'm not quite sure
I was
who.
under the impression Kyogo hadn't quite broken his way in yet, and he'd only become kind of talked about for the squad after joining Celtic. But
Yeah,
but he has been pretty decent at Celtic as well.
yeah,
He's not even played for ages.
But in terms of this season as a whole, he's had a
He's had a solid season.
He's been alright. Yeah, he's been alright.
I'm going to go for this one. I'm going to go with 3-1 Japan. Next up, one for Marcus. It's Mexico's World Cup qualifier against the US.
Oh no! Do not ask me. Oh god. Fucking hell. I don't
Marcus to score an 86-minute winner.
I don't think
Marcus. Did the Mexicans call it soccer or did he call it football?
It's El Football.
That's fine then. So I'm definitely not back in the soccer team. So.
What about their captain, the LeBron James of soccer?
Nah.
I don't know how many chances I've had to speak about the Mexican national team in this pod when I've been on it before, but we've experienced a ridiculous downturn over the past kind of year, and it's very clear to see that we're not the best country in the continent anymore. The US is well and truly above us now, and we're in a position where we need to kind of fight back. I don't think we're going to beat them. I don't think we're going to beat them, and it really pains me to say it, but I'll say 2-1 USA, because I think I think we're going to lose.
How much did that pain you to say that?
It pained me a lot because, yeah, I don't know, but we're in a state at the minute. So in terms of our national team,
I'm going to reverse that score. I'm going to say 2-1 Mexico.
Thank you, thank you. Oh, thank you for having some faith. But nah,
You know what?
I can't back people that call football soccer. So
I'm just gonna.
I feel like
yeah, sorry.
I feel like this is going to be one of these ones that gets hyped up and nothing really happens. I'm going to say like 0-0. It's like a boring 0-0.
I'd take a 0-0 at this rate. I don't actually know how far away we are from confirming qualification. But
I think Canada were the closest.
yes, they're on 25 points. We're neck and neck with the US.
I think Canada just need a point, and I think the US and Mexico need 4 points.
Jeez.
But obviously, I think Panama they're in fourth, aren't they? Panama. I think they're a bit far behind, so I think you should be okay.
Yeah. So after that, our next games are Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala.
Yeah. So I think for this one, I think
Mexico. Yeah. Sorry.
I think for this one, I'm going to go. I've heard a lot from the US saying how their manager is shit, but Mexico have been a bit poor over the past recently as well.
We're the country expected to be top of the qualifying table every year, and like
you're third.
We're sitting third, so it's not exactly an impressive campaign for us. I don't have much faith.
I'm going to go 1-1. I think.
Yeah, I'd take a 1-1 easy. You know, if we do qualify, it'll be limping over the line, which is not really good enough. But yeah,
we jump across now to Africa. For a World Cup qualifying playoff first leg between Ghana and Nigeria.
Oh, Nigeria 3-0.
I'll go 1-1 just because I'm not too familiar with how the squads are doing at the minute.
Nigeria had a pretty solid AFCON run.
Yeah, they get knocked out pretty early, didn't they?
Yeah, no, they got knocked out. Pretty early. That's right, because you had a Rebo back for the Old Firm.
Sorry.
And I think Ghana. I think Ghana got knocked out in the group as well. So.
Yeah, I know that a few of the favourites got knocked out quite early from AFCON.
Yeah. I'm just going to say 2-1 Nigeria.
I'm going to switch it up and I'm going to go for a 1-0 win for Ghana, I think.
Frank Akinpong.
And we also have a friendly in this run of international fixtures. This one's between Germany and Israel.
Strange.
3-0 Germany.
Yeah, I'll back that. 3-0 Germany.
I think we're going to go for 4-1 Germany. And for Lewis?
3-0 Germany.
3-0.
Los Gets.
Another qualifier from North America, someone which could involve a Rangers player, Kemar Roof, is Canada against Jamaica.
Oh, Jamaica make it interesting. They're not really in the top 3 nations in the the continent, but they I don't know. They're kind of maybe them and Costa Rica are candidates for being best of the rest, and you could argue that make up kind of top 5 maybe. Canada are just doing bits though. I'll say 3-1 Canada.
I'm going to give this 1 each.
I'm going to say 2-1 Jamaica.
Ooh.
I'm basing it off the fact that, well, they've got Mikel Antonio. That's pretty much all I'm going with.
There's also
he's been firing pretty well for West Ham. So
there's also the point at this point Canada could have already qualified, so they could just take it off. But I'm going to go with a solid 2-0 win for Canada. And the final game we're going to predict it's an England game. It's England against Ivory Coast.
England.
4-0 England.
I'm going to say, I was going to back 4-0, but I'll say 3-0 England.
I just think it's the kind of routine game that England will, put a few past the other team.
Yeah, I don't think they'll play the strong team. I think they'll play some youngsters. I'd like to see Smith Rowe start. But
I'm going to say 3-1 England. They'll make it difficult because obviously Pickford's in goal. There's no Ramsdale, so
he's alright. He's only got short arms though.
He's only got little arms. Yeah, it's one of those ones like 3-0 England.
But you never know, they might score because Maguire could be in the fifth. Big slab head.
I love all the memes that you see on Instagram just now. It's like, I'd like to report this account for impersonation of being a professional footballer. But like realistically, it's a strong England squad and Harry Maguire against what, Wilfred Zaha, Sebastian. Actually, yeah.
I've already written it down.
What was
So
that voice?
Yeah, now I
I've
think
already
about
written it
it
down.
though, they could get a goal from somewhere. I don't think they will, but there is enough of a strike force in that team that they could. Pepe, Zaha, and Sebastian Haller. So
yeah, strong midfield as well with what?
yeah, Sangare, Kessié,
Seri.
Seri, yeah. Corney, about 20 million trial raise. It's a good team, but not good enough to score against England, I don't think.
We'll see what happens over the international break, and we'll be back again next week, back in time for some league action and indeed the old firm. So thank you guys for joining me, and we'll see you again next week.
See you later.
Bye.
The False 90s podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Podbean, and our website at false90s.wordpress.com. For updates, follow False 90s on both Twitter and Instagram. And a big thank you to Fransisco Aluear and his track Space Game, which is our theme tune. No, it's alright. It's been good to have you on for this one.
Yeah, it was good to have you back. Always good to have you back.
Hopefully I can come on when Hibs are doing a bit better. So
the next season then?
So yeah, I'll come back on when Motherwell start having a good season. So I'll never be back on, boys. It's my retirement from the podcast.